The field that I'm in right now is nuclear science, specifically nuclear fusion. And in my field, there's very little diversity. I actually attended my first conference in my field in June, and there are a couple hundred people at this conference, and I was the only person of color, or the only black person specifically, and one of very few women. And the conference organizers actually noticed that and invited me to speak on a panel about diversity, which was interesting because I'm speaking to a room of like 60-year-old white men about diversity, and I'm like the youngest person at the conference, also the only black person and one of the only few women. So the biggest reasons that I've seen for the lack of diversity in science and engineering in the US have mainly been the lack of support networks, the lack of mentorship, and also students sometimes, like when you can't see yourself in a position or you can't see yourself in a certain environment, then you don't even think about doing that. And sometimes it's actually even discouraged from your family. So for example, if no one in your family has gone to university and no one knows anything about science and you say, I want to be a physicist, no one's really going to understand what that means, and they're going to be worried about your job prospects. Will you be able to get a job? What kind of job can you do as a physicist? You know, all of these sorts of doubts, and they're coming from your own family and they're coming from a good place. Like they want you to do well, but it's not in their realm of understanding of what is a career that you can do that will get you money or allow you to live a life better than the life that they lived, something along those lines. So when you're sort of dealing with the unfamiliarity yourself, and then also not necessarily receiving support from your family members, that can be quite difficult for a lot of students to sort of juggle all of these different factors while also having to compete with some students who might have a father who's a professor in astrophysics and a grandfather who started the Department of Engineering at Harvard or something like that. It can just be really difficult for students to compete.